Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? I'm lucky here to have a band that we've had on the Threes twice, the first band that I've had on our weekly Threes twice, and we're finally here. It is Phil and Trevor from the amazing Brooklyn-based band and California band Tree River. Welcome to the show, fellas.
Hey, thank you so much. How's it going?
It's going great. So pretty exciting stuff. New song coming out. I've heard it. It's called Get Up. It's unfucking believable. I was very excited for you guys to share that with me. It is I am in love with what you guys are doing with your music. It reinvigorates me when I find bands such as yourself that just, for me, hit on all cylinders. And I just think it's important to get the word out about you guys because it's amazing. It really is. And I just want you both to understand that what you're doing makes a difference in people's lives because it made a difference in mine.
Wow.
So
thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much. That really means a lot. Thank you.
So why don't I get I know Phil and Trevor, you've both been, it's Tree River's basically started with you, and there's been some moving parts along the way, and with Time Being come out, which is just an absolute banger of an album that I implore everyone to go out and listen to immediately. As soon as this show's over, when you're done listening to the show, go listen to that full album. But why don't you, Phil, give me a background of how you guys started doing stuff?
Sure. So Trevor and I have known each other since 2006. We were college roommates. He was my first Facebook friend. I signed up for Facebook and they're like, hey, you want to be friends with this guy? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Looks great. So we were roommates in college and we found out we liked the same music. And we were like, hey, we both play guitar. We're both Jewish guys. Let's see what happens. And it worked out. And we had a lot of musical overlapping, whatever, and a lot of chemistry. And we started writing songs not too long after that. And then, just by nature of where college took us and sort of the next few years of our life, we ended up living in different cities for the next little bit. But obviously we were still in touch and he was writing songs and I was doing whatever the hell I was doing. And then he sort of around 2009, I would say, started like sending me some songs while he was living in LA that he had been working on that were like sort of like freak folky, like mystical, weird, acoustic-y kind of based songs, which is stuff that I liked, but I've always sort of been drawn to like very sort of blunt, cathartic, emotionally like bop you over the head with like big loud guitars and like big sentiments kind of music. So sort of retrofitting these songs that didn't really have tons of those elements into the kind of music that it was sort of more my natural style was like a fun experiment. And then it actually worked out that, we'd been doing this like sort of very slow, very sort of informal process for a while. And then he moved to DC where I was living at the time. And immediately I was like, oh, we got to record an album. Like we both sort of had this like mystical idea and this beautiful sort of like, mythical thing of like recording music and being in a studio. And still to this day, it's like my absolute favorite thing that I ever do in my entire life. But I was like, let's record an album. So we sort of like took a lot of the songs that he'd been writing over the last little bit and we sort of fleshed them out. We turned them into full band arrangements with our buddy Jeff, who was playing drums, and we wrote guitar leads and we added distortion and we kind of like really focused on like arrangement. And we put out this album that I honestly kind of feel like still holds up. I really like it. And then, we spent the next few years again in different cities. He was in DC, I was in New York. We wrote the second album over GChat. And then we kind of like, eventually once we were in the same place, probably like 2000, and he moved in 2015, but like sort of shortly after that, we kind of like got a little more serious about it and like formed a band. I think got better as songwriters, as musicians. Well, probably not as musicians, but like songwriters and sort of like arrangers. And since then, it's been kind of like off to the races, and we kind of keep trying to top ourselves. And it's, I love writing songs and I love recording them even more, and I love releasing them and have people say that they like them even more than that. So it's a very easy sort of pattern to stay in every little bit and record something new and make something new.
That's awesome. Trevor, do you have any alternative facts to Phil's story?
Oh, alternative facts. Well, I love that he said that we wrote the second record over GChat, which is totally true. But just to add to that, so we were writing lyrics, and my productivity at my job at the time just plummeted. And it was
the bathroom to record vocal
I was
demos.
yeah. So I was gonna add that not only was it written on GChat, but it was written on like voice memos that I was singing in the bathroom, sending them to him. And part of our process writing has always, Phil and I have to agree on every single note, every single word. And oftentimes that requires either arguing or proving your idea with a recording. So for some reason, I just don't delete anything really. I have just like 1,000 of these little snippets and
just like the same line sung,
just the same line ways. Version 2, version 3. Phil has literally written like 3 paragraphs in an essay proving with sound theory why it should be a G sharp instead of a G. I'm not even kidding. It's like so it's kind of it's I think one reason why our band like feels, I don't know, like it's been a sustainable project for so long has to do with the fact that we really work together very well, and it's kind of like a brotherly relationship musically, which has its pros and cons, but one of the pros is that you don't really ever leave one another. So
I think you also kind of try to give the benefit of the doubt to the other person. You know what I mean? Like it's you can't leave them, but you also like basically this last song that we wrote that we're putting out on the 27th, like I had to like do this thing sort of frequently in the process of like writing it where like I would jump forward 4 steps where I would be like literally furious at Trevor. I'd be like, I do not understand how he could possibly think that this is a G sharp. It is insane to me. And I like had to like take my brain and like put it in like an isolation chamber and like jump ahead 4 steps to like probably whatever compromise we come up with is going to make the song better. And I'm going to sort of will myself to like be in that headspace now. And I would like go sit in a quiet room for 10 minutes and then be like, okay, let's make this work. You know what I mean? I get way too heated about it, but it's okay.
Oh, no, I love that.
Yeah, because I'm actually picturing, like, I want to see that essay.
I'll send it to you, honestly. Let me make a little note and I'll send it to you.
But that inner connection and that trying to prove to each other is pretty awesome to have that connectivity at the same time when you're both trying to disprove each other.
I think it's trying to like one up the other one, not in like a competitive bad way, and just like a topping ourselves. And I kind of need you to like.
It's definitely competitive. Don't tell me it's not competitive.
No,
it's definitely competitive.
It's also we just have such completely different skill sets. Like I think Trevor's coming at from like a lyrics first sort of like holistic whatever perspective, and by no fault of his own, it's just like it's not a particular skill set of his to like know the exact like notes that are going on in every millisecond of the song. And it's different strengths, which I think makes the song better in the end. But it's definitely 2 very different places that obviously have to coexist and overlap. So by nature of it, he's going to like disagree with some of the shit that I'm doing, and I'm going to disagree with some of the shit he's doing. But I think it inevitably works out.
Well, it definitely works out. I will, give you that much, that it definitely works out. Whatever you're doing, just keep doing it that way, because I've enjoyed every release you have, especially the new one, Get Up. It was weird because it punched me in the face and I wasn't like totally expecting it to. And it just starts and just, it kills all the way through. And I listened to it 10 times alone today because I was like, I just couldn't get enough of it. And that's what you guys have done for me. And that's why you're the first band on our weekly 3s to appear twice, because
what an honor.
I keep coming back to you guys because it's just, it's fantastic music. And I've pushed it on other people and said, there's something for everyone. It doesn't fit into a simple category or a simple, hey, here's a genre. If you're going to like the genre, you're going to like this album. It encompasses so many different things in the musicianship. You can kind of feel it. And hearing you talk about how you guys go back and forth, it just makes more sense to me now.
Yeah, I think especially when we make the albums as opposed to these little like one-off singles that we've been doing, like there's very much an intention of like, let's just make this feel like a greatest hits album where like every song is completely different. Like even on the album sequencing wise, like the eighth song is a very beautiful, dreamy, tender song that Julie, our bassist, sings and has these like floaty vocals. And then I intentionally like was like, all right, we got to have this song end in this like, beautiful cascade of like reverb. And then song 9 is the song called Little Ripper that just like punches you in the face with these like jackhammer guitars. Like our drummer is like straight up scared of it. He's like, yeah, the album's great except for that insane transition where one song ends and then the next song like makes you pee in your pants a little bit. But I always kind of like when every single song on an album is completely different, just because I like bands that try 90 million different things, and even if they don't work, that's totally fine by me, just because I like the variety of it.
I think that one of it kind of describes an ethos that we have where we just don't repeat anything. I mean, we don't even down to the lyrics. Like we have this thing where we really, really don't even like using the same word twice. And then it comes also just same like style of music. Like every song really has to sound different. And sometimes I'll send things to Phil and I'll be like, what do you think about this? And he'll be like, yeah, this would sound great on Inward, which is our first album. And it's like
the song has to have a reason for being and has to like justify its own existence. And in my mind, if it's too derivative of something we've done, it's very difficult for it to do that.
Yeah, and then there was a song on our last album, Dark Matter, where we hadn't even written the song, but we knew where it was going to be on the album, and we knew that it was going to be a sexy kind of song, and that's all we started with. And then so it's very much like just trying to do something different each time, and I think that at least that's what some people have told us kind of sets us apart from other bands who we love, not to throw shade on anyone because we love the scene, but some bands they get really.
We haven't said a single proper noun yet. I don't think we've offended.
Okay, good. Well, okay. Well, I think that some bands they find their sound and they find their color palette and then they stick to it, and
like every song on the album will have the exact same guitar tone.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or the same vocal melody. That's the thing that really gets me is when it's the same vocal melody.
Yeah, there's bands that are definitely
I think that, I think that that's like my critique of the last like 10 years of emo is the vocal melody monotony. However, there are many
the Cool Kids album, honestly, that came out this year is like such an example of just the same kind of thing that we're going for, which is like such sonic variety, like really, really creative, which is honestly a very obvious word, but it's not a word that I use very often with like contemporary rock music. Just like super creative, a lot of colors, a lot of variety in the vocal melodies, a lot of different sounds and guitar tones and time signatures and vibes. It's just like that record's all over the place in the best possible way, and I really look up to them for pulling it off.
Yeah, I just saw them recently in Brooklyn.
Oh man, I wish we should have gone to that show. Where was that show?
Brooklyn Made.
Oh yeah, I keep hearing about that place. I haven't been. Who'd they play with?
It's they played with Couplets and
oh man, that's
Into It Over It.
Oh my goodness!
My
you should have gone. What a fail!
We love all those bands so much.
That's fun.
Yeah.
We were just chatting with Into It Over It today. Not to humble brag. Right, Phil? You just got that.
No, he has this new album under his band There, which I listened to on a plane on Friday, and I was just like taken aback by how like pummeling it is, and also it's like he obviously is a very he knows his way around a mathy noodle, like many of us do. But the mathy noodles on the There album are so ugly, like they're so fucking weird and naughty and hideous in like a really cool, weird way.
Yeah. Compliment. That's a compliment.
I fully mean that as a compliment.
That's a huge compliment.
In his mind, like, he's like, I got Into It Over. That's like the sort of songwriting confessional band with like these really sort of pretty noodles. And he's like, all right, I got the band for the pretty noodles. I want some ugly noodles. And there's some noodles on this where I was making like a grimace on my face as I was walking down the street. I was like, I think that's a good sign.
Hell yeah. He's honestly just been one of our heroes for so long. And I think that we messaged him a while ago because we had the same publicist.
Oh, we covered
became our manager. We covered one of his songs on a compilation a while back that he loved, and then he did the coolest thing. So when we released our album. So he has this vinyl collector, like, what is it, like a
Club. It's like
club,
a club, yeah.
a subscription club. And he bought a ton of our records and put them into his membership club.
It's like a
And
little
so,
secret treat.
yeah, and so that's how a lot of people found out about us, is through him. So, you know, lot of
Ups to that
gratitude
guy.
towards him. Yeah, big ups
Yeah,
to
I
the
actually
master.
I was talking about Evan literally on my last recording, which was an hour ago, because guy was a big fan of it, and I said, I go, what pisses me off about Evan is that he just, no matter what he does, it's fucking great. And
He just has like music falling out of his fingertips.
I know
yeah,
how
it
some of
pisses
those.
me off. Like
Oh
you're
my
at
God.
some point you got to fail a little bit. But he just hasn't, from the progress to there, into it, over it, the couplet stuff. Like, I'm just like, fucking A, man. Stop being so awesome.
It's
Seriously.
just like some of those prolific geniuses, they just never stop, and it's really incredible. So yeah, we love him. If you're out there, Evan, we love you.
So when it comes to music, I mean, and the fact of how so in depth you guys are, and you know, I'll use the word perfectionist, since you guys go back and forth to argue to make everything 100% perfect. I mean, when did it start? So Trevor, when did your life and music begin? Like as a small child, when did music start becoming something to you and important?
Oh, that's such a nice question. Well, I remember when I was in 5th grade, my older brother gave me OK Computer. And I remember crying under a blanket on an airplane, listening to Climbing Up the Walls.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And
That's
I remember because the album had just come out, which I don't know, you can figure out my age that way. But so it was the beginning of 5th grade. And I remember being like, oh shit, like music can really like make you feel really intense things. And then I got really into like reading deeply into lyrics for a while, and I mean pretty much forever ever since. But that was like one way where I like started to understand like my own emotions through like deep reading Elliott Smith's lyrics, and everything like that. So I don't know, kind of, I don't know if that's a cliche, but really through my like early teenage years. And um yeah, and I like started writing, like I actually, so in high school was when I, like, all of my friends where I grew up were all musicians, and I grew up in this like community in San Diego, a community of bands where we all went to this venue, this beloved venue called Che Cafe. It's where a lot of people met each other, and bands would see friends' bands play, and all of that. And during that period, I started just like making these weird lo-fi recordings just on my computer. And it was my PC computer. And I remember that when I went to college, I got a laptop, and it was an Apple, like a MacBook or whatever. And so like when I transitioned to the new laptop, basically all of those recordings, they just became like, they just lived on my computer as this time capsule. And my mom, like, over the years kept telling me like, you need to get rid of that dinosaur computer. She used that word a lot, and I was like, I can't do it yet. Anyway, I went back like literally in 2014. I graduated high school in 2006, and I went back and found this like whole album that I had made that I had completely forgotten about. I think because I wasn't super proud of the recordings, and I'm just really, I feel grateful that I kept that computer. And it was cool because I made all the songs on Audacity. And
Shout out to
Audacity,
Audacity, by
yeah,
the way.
shout out to Audacity. Before I went to, I think next it was GarageBand, and then
I'm still on
blah blah
Audacity,
blah.
baby.
But what's cool is like, so Audacity, I downloaded another copy of Audacity on my computer on my MacBook Pro, and was able to go into all of those sessions from 2005, 2006, like looking and seeing how I was recording these like scrappy little lo-fi
You were such a good
art
guitarist back
pieces.
then.
I know I was so good. I've just progressively gotten worse. But it's kind of cool because back then I was just recording like experimentally. It was before I knew anything about songwriting. And so it was really cool because the songs in a way felt like very authentic because it was just like whatever I was feeling that day and then just coming up with a title that like after I'd, recorded a bunch of shit, like finally pressing save and then naming it whatever it kind of sounded like. And it was a really cool vibe that I kind of want to go back to in some ways.
What's the name of the song that turned into Catalyst? Sound like someone needs a hug or
Oh
something?
yeah, sounds like someone needs a hug. Which is exactly what it sounds like. And Phil had to like learn what I was playing like retroactively, and I can't even play it now. Like I have no idea how I was able to just because I think
And
I
I
just
think you wrote
cared
it in
less.
alternate tuning. I had to like figure out how to play it in like a normal human being tuning.
Yeah, I think that back then I cared less, and that's the cool thing about lo-fi is like when you just don't if it's lo-fi you're not making something that you're trying to like perform or perfect, then you don't spend that much time in the writing process. And not all lo-fi, but a lot of lo-fi is like that, and it just comes out sounding
More
so
experiential.
experiential. Exactly. And so it's one cool thing about the lo-fi hip hop like chill hop world that I'm super into also is that kind of thing. It's just like these sketches that feel really beautiful because they're not
I feel
over
like moments in time
thought.
as opposed to like indelible, timeless classics, which is like by design.
Exactly. Totally. And now, we're like, we've gone to the other side of the spectrum, which is also cool because now we like know how to write songs and that, we're experienced in that craft. But sometimes I just wonder like what it would be like to not have to, just to not overthink things, and let things flow. Um, so maybe that's an experiment for the future.
That's fun.
I don't think a lot of people can know how to let things go and just have fun. I think that's one of the biggest issues in the world today is it's hard to not overthink things because we're always overthinking.
I think we need another
Totally.
band name. Like we need like you know what I mean? Like call the band Kirk or something and just fuck around. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we could do it under our current moniker because there's too much baggage. And every band in the music history has said this, which is why side projects exist and solo projects is there is baggage because you're kind of like stacking up the new things to the old things, and you're like, well, is this as good? Is this like too different? Are the people that like this gonna like this? And there's freedom that comes from just calling a band like something else.
Look at Evan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good example. Or fucking Max Bemis
yeah,
with the
seriously.
like Maximental thing. He has so many projects. He's another just insanely prolific genius. He and Evan Weiss could compete for just how many
You could release
songs
some
can
more
you
most
make?
albums in a year.
You know what's crazy? The craziest thing about Max Bemis, I don't know if you've seen his like song shop thing that he does, where you can pay us, I don't know how much you pay, but you like basically describe either a story or something that you want the song to be about, and then he writes and records a custom song just for you. And he's done literally thousands of these. Like, and so I was always like, how the hell does he do that?
He
Like
says he
that's
can do
just
100 in a
incredible.
day.
Yeah, he does 100 in a day. And the craziest thing is, so he put out like he made like this vlog where he was doing it on video. And if you can find that video, it is unbelievable. Just like he just somehow lets it flow through him without thinking, and it's just because he's a genius. It just every song comes out like there's like double entendres in the lyrics, and the melodies are like unique but catchy and beautiful, and it's like, oh my god, he's maybe our favorite musician ever, definitely one of the top two.
Well,
So
you got to have him on Time Being, right?
hell yeah. Phil,
Yeah.
do you want to tell them about that?
Yeah, I
Because that's
basically
so
just I had no prior connection to the man. I was just like, he's been in my favorite band for 15 years or whatever the fuck it's been at this point. And I was like, well, I basically set an intention 3 years ago. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but at some point I'm going to make it happen that he's on the new album. And we were both just like, ha ha ha. And like, I think the album could have very easily come out with him not on it. And we would have been like, well, gave it the old college try. And then I kind of like did this, Ocean's 11 style, like heist basically to like get him into my life and slowly like warm him up to the idea of doing this. And it it worked basically. It took a while, and then eventually I got it to the point where by the time I asked, "Would you be on the album?" the answer was like, "Oh, dude, of course, fuck yeah." You know what I mean? Like I didn't want it to be like, "Oh, that's like kind of awkward that you asked that. I'm gonna like slowly back out of the room and we're gonna pretend you didn't say it." You know what I mean? Like I didn't want a question. I didn't want like a let me get back to you, and then I never hear anything again and we both pretend it didn't happen. Like I needed it to be like oh my god, are you absolutely kidding me? Like that would be so fun. I can't wait. Obviously, of course. How can I help? What can I do? And that's where I got it somehow over the course of like again a year or something like that. But it was so fun.
It also helped that we wrote a song that was like so inspired by Say Anything that like he was, I mean, it was almost like it was written for him in a way. But it's crazy because I actually wrote like the lyrics and that the bridge, like that part actually we had written a long time ago. And I had like written the lyrics and I was like, hey, like, can you sing this? And, we asked him to sing this specific part. And he recorded that like two different layers of like his voice doing like a mid voice and then a really, really big voice, like high version, which was incredible to like hear your hero like singing what you wrote. But then he went on to write all this other shit, like the outro.
Didn't even have lyrics originally. He just wrote lyrics and sang them. It's great.
We didn't write that part. He was just like inspired by the song and then wrote like probably the best part of the whole song we hadn't even written first. So that was just, fucking dream come true. And that's like many people's favorite moment on the album is the outro of Crossroading.
Phil, how was your life, surrounded by music when you were a child? Like, how did you start to make music this big thing in your life? How did it start?
So it's interesting because my dad is, I guess, technically a baby boomer, but I think he had very Gen X like music taste. So I think the first band I remember, like he was very into like They Might Be Giants and Smashing Pumpkins, and those were like the big, and like Nirvana. That was like the big. It's probably honestly kind of like me running around like trying to keep up with like scene bands, like an old fucking fart, and like you know what I mean, like desperately grasping at whatever shred of like relevance that I could possibly muster up. Probably something similar for him in the early 90s. But he had like a very robust CD collection. Like do you remember in like the earlier mid 90s, they like created these like 100 CD changers that you could like have in your like personal like stereo setup in your house. I don't know if you guys had this, but my dad had like 100 CD changer. Basically, he like took all of his CDs and he like loaded them into this 100 CD changer, and he like kept the like booklets in a little booklet in like a flip book thing. So it would just be like, and he was super into like really like orchestral like 70s prog rock too. So he would occasionally just like bring me into the living room. He had these ridiculously monster speakers. He was like, as soon as I got a job and like had a career and like made a little bit of money, his first purchase was an acoustic Ovation guitar and these like insane speakers that are still like in his house to this day. But he would like sit me in the living room, turn off all the lights, put me in a chair in the middle of the room, turn on the huge speakers, and play the album In the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson. And just like that idea that sort of music could be that big and overwhelming and kind of like that's kind of, I think that was like hugely formative in terms of the kind of thing I'm going for. Just because even like when we finish a record or we finish a song, I think that both of us would probably agree that like the sort of ideal circumstances, and we've done this multiple times in the past, is just like gathering all of our friends and like anyone who's sort of relevant in our life, putting them in a dark room, getting the best possible set of speakers we absolutely can, making the music way too loud just so it's like being in a movie. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to like be in the car with someone and like play it in the background while we like talk about something else. Like I need it to kind of feel like the main event and like overwhelm you in the same way that those sort of like early, musical experiences overwhelmed me.
Well, yeah, and I mean, going back to that type of music though, that's what they like King Crimson and
He's very into Yes and the Moody Blues.
Yes, Moody Blues. Genesis. I mean, Genesis was an overall. It's like a musical. Like you're literally you're sitting down and the whole album is just it's a musical.
Like dramatic, theatrical, like multiple movements, 12-minute songs, 31-minute song, like that kind of shit.
Yeah, stories.
Yeah,
it's telling a full story. So, what was the first band in your life that you got to attach yourself to after growing up with that around you? What was like when you started to find your own type of music to listen to?
I
What did you?
honestly think it was probably Say Anything, just because up until that point, like that was a band, like I've kind of talked about this already today, but like a band that really from song to song was just doing whatever the fuck they felt like doing. Like every song was completely different. There were songs that sounded like Broadway show tunes. There were songs that sounded like fucking hardcore ragers. Like the fact that you could sort of put that stuff back to back on an album was like super exciting to me. Not to mention the fact that Max was like a Jewish guy from LA, like talked about that kind of stuff, which felt relevant to my interests. And just like I honestly feel like I could have been in a band that was like musically really accomplished and cool and melodic and like maybe didn't have that good of lyrics. And the fact that I'm in a band where I feel like super proud of the lyrics that we produce is like straight up a cherry on top. Cause that's always the part of music that like I'm the most forgiving of, where I'm like, if I'm sort of perceiving the emotion that the songwriter is trying to convey through the music or the sound or production, that kind of takes me 89% of the way there. And if you just have like unbelievable, indelible, like timeless lyrics, that's, you know, it's just like a whipped cream little blob on top. But again, the fact that a band like Say Anything sort of had all that stuff for me, it like checked 100% of all available boxes. And that's kind of the first time I felt like, also the fact that I was in my high school, the only person I knew of that was like into that kind of music or gave a shit about that, like it felt like this is literally a discovery that I'm the only one who knows it, and there's no one around here that even gives a shit. So it made it all the more special when I got to college. And Trevor's like, "Oh yeah, I love that band."
Yeah, I mean, you took ownership of someone else's creation, which is a very musical thing too. Like this belongs to me. This is for me.
Yeah,
And like when it comes to Say Anything, like I think they were very polarizing because of all the reasons that you explained. It was for me talking to people when it came to Say Anything. It was you either had people who absolutely love
totally.
them,
And I
or
get both
people that
sides
or people who couldn't stand them. And I did. I get both sides. I completely understand it.
completely. Especially
Trevor,
the
what?
stuff that came
Oh,
after, like all the sort of detours and like weird sounds and like
yeah,
different production approaches. Like some of them simultaneously, I find like exciting and like super maddening. You know.
yeah. Trevor, what was your band that you kind of started when you started to find your own way? How did you find your own way to the music that you liked?
Oh man, probably so so unlike Phil, I grew up in a scene where, all of my close friends were in bands, and there was this one band that was one of my best friends in the world. He was in a band called Mr. Valentine, which was this kind of post-hardcore, like very at the drive-in influenced kind of hardcore band that was just like I had never heard anything like that. It was just unbelievable. And then the members of that band went on to form maybe our second favorite band of all time called Weatherbox. And I'm actually wearing a Weatherbox t-shirt, which is my like pajama shirt. Oh man, I hope Brian does not hear that. But anyway, so that band was just super inspiring and was actually often kind of compared to Say Anything in some ways. Like they had kind of similar sensibilities where they were sort of like rooted in kind of pop punk emo, but definitely more like there's
Really
like a
expansive song
yeah,
structure, very
expansive
distinct personality at the center.
and like what I loved about Weatherbox was kind of similar to our sort of vibe now is like they took this kind of like punk attitude and combined it with this kind of like earthy, almost like hippie kind of vibe. Like if you even just like the artwork and the vibe, it's very much like it's like punk hardcore, but meets the sort of like earthy nature based like
Very
organic
druggy,
sound.
psychedelic vibe.
Yeah, exactly. Like bringing like punk into and psychedelic, bringing those two things together, punk and emo and psychedelia, and that sort of intersection is like that's the bread and butter right there. Like that's my favorite. Um so it's kind of cool that yeah that I was so influenced by them. And then later on our second album, Brian, who I also like grew up with those people. Like I've known Brian since I was 12 years old or something. He was on our last album, which was like so fucking cool too. And Yeah, so Weatherbox was fucking, that was the one, that was the band.
Nice. Now,
Yeah.
when it comes to music, the live experience is just, I mean, it's far and beyond. It transcends whatever you can put down in a recording. So live music is extremely important. And in your life, there's usually, sometimes they coincide, other times they don't. Now, Phil, do you remember the first concert you ever went to? And then was, if it was you were dragged to by somebody else, do you remember the first concert that you got to pick?
Yeah, so it's funny. I got two answers, and maybe that's a little bit of a cop out. But basically, I think my dad in like I want to say 2000 won tickets via the local radio station to go see They Might Be Giants at some like pub on Long Island. So he went to that show, and I think he like didn't take adequate like ear precautions, and like he went with my uncle, and I think my uncle like still complains about. He's like, I couldn't hear for 2 weeks. It was crazy. So they think my dad was also at that point like whatever the hell in his 40s, however old he was, 50s. So he kind of like stopped being a regular concert attendee, even though he used to like drag my mom to see like all these bands we talked about, like Pink Floyd and King Crimson and Nirvana, and they actually saw Radiohead at Roseland Ballroom, blah blah blah. But like uh, at that point, he kind of like took a break, and I remember in like ninth grade, my friend Sandy was like, let's go see They Might Be Giants. And at that time, I took a lot of meaning out of the fact that like my dad's quote unquote last show, even though I took him to see like Russian Circles a few years later, and he's like been to a bunch of our shows. Like my dad's last show was the same band as my first show. And I didn't really give a shit about They Might Be Giants. I didn't really know. I think I knew the like Istanbul song and like whatever CD he had, there was like one song on it that I liked. So it didn't feel like hugely meaningful to me in terms of the music, but just like that was such a huge part of where my love of music and album oriented music and like heavy grunge sort of centric music came from. That felt significant. But I think the first show that I went to was actually a very sick lineup, guys. It was another show with my friend Sandy, who I went to all these shows with, and it was like a 5-band lineup where it was like Minus the Bear, Spitalfield, if you know that band.
Yep.
Do you know Jonah Matranga from like One Line Drawing?
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah.
had this like weird made up major label plant kind of band called Gratitude for 5 minutes. They played that show.
That Gratitude album is fucking amazing.
It's so good. I agree. Actually, I could probably look up who else was on that show, but it was a 5-band bill, and those were 3 of the bands. Hold on, I got to look up who the other ones were.
That's amazing.
It was a great show.
I mean, yeah, that's those type of lineup shows that I always go back.
Stray Light Run and the honorary title were the other 2 bands. Just 5 amazing bands.
Wow.
At Irving Plaza in Manhattan. That was the coolest.
Wow. That is awesome. Irving Plaza is fucking great.
Great venue.
Bowery's my that's my favorite venue.
I could see that.
Wow. That's a hell of a
So I
hell of a
consider
run
that
for
my
shows.
first for, like actual show, you know.
Wow. How about you, Trevor?
Oh man, well, a similarly stacked bill. That was the band. It was called A Similarly Stacked Bill. So the show, I was in 5th grade, and it was the Hard Knock Life tour, which featured Redman, Method Man, DMX, and Jay-Z. Yeah, and we had to ask my friend Mitch Croner's dad to bring us because, I was not allowed to listen to explicit content music yet. But yeah, that was
your first show ever?
Well, it was 1998. Yeah.
That's a hell of a show.
Hell yeah. That was so good. And I think that was the first time I ever smelled weed, because it was like, I just remember that, like, what is that smell? And why is someone smoking inside? Like, what is that? And then, then fast forward, and then my brother owns a weed farm. So it comes, full circle.
Full circle. Do you have a favorite show that you've ever been to that, for better or worse, just always stands out?
Oh, I do. So, in addition to emo music, I'm really into electronic music. And so Phil and I used to live in DC, and there is a venue there that is my favorite venue in the world called the 930 Club.
Oh,
and that venue has the best sound I've of any venue I've ever been to,
I
and
agree. It's the
they
best
have a
venue I've ever
really that like one like metric that I love for like understanding how good a sound system is how heavy and full is the low end, but at the same time like feeling the bass, but you can also like have a conversation with someone next to you. Not that I'm talking during venues, but or during shows, but anyway, it was like clear and bassy and heavy, but not like muddy and shitty
Who was the
sounding.
artist?
And the artist was James Blake, and it
Nice.
was during the first tour where it was like that kind of
It
it
felt
was
like
like
new and dangerous and
pretent
exciting.
it was like pretentious dubstep. It
Yeah.
was like because I love which I fucking ate up. Oh my god! And that show is so cool. Also because he was his records are like they're electronic productions, like all electronic music, but live he converts all of that and he plays with a band.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
the
That's fun.
coolest thing is that there's actually a drummer and it's like a super creative percussion setup where he combines like live percussion and electronic, but like live, like electronic, like the bass. It's a sampler, like it's a kick drum, but it samples a sample of a kick drum. So it has this like really cool live organic vibe, but still captures the like electronic kind of thing that he's going with. So anyway, that fucking show was so good. I remember just like the bass was so big that I felt like I was gonna shit my pants, but in like the best way ever. I wore a diaper. So.
I was gonna say I don't know if shitting in my pants is ever a best way to do that.
Well, that's how good the show was.
That you just be okay with it.
yeah, hell yeah, James Blake. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's.
How about you, Phil? Do you have a show that stands out for better or worse that you just like is amazing and you always go back to? I know it's hard to pick them. So
I don't really know. Honestly, a lot of my favorite shows were in 2008. I was interning at Columbia Records as like an A&R intern, which was a lot of fun. But what I would do is I would try try to get into a lot of like cool shows that I wanted tickets to, but were like sold out or too expensive. And my move was I would message the opening band and be like, I'm an A&R person at Sony Records, and I would love to like court your band to sign to Columbia Records. Can I come to your show tonight and we can like talk? It was like I wanted to go see like Crystal Castles, and I would just like bullshit whatever random band they found opening for Crystal Castles. I would look them up. Be like, all right, whatever. I don't even know what these guys sound like. I want to be like, hey, you want to sign to a major label? I'll be into your show for free. So just during the summer of 2008, I would do this every single night, and I was literally at a show every single night of my entire summer that I was doing it, just because I was like conning my way into every single show around town. It was great.
Wow. How many of those bands have gone on to have great careers now, though, without you?
Like -4. Like none of them. Some of them have actually been like prosecuted at The Hague for like musical crimes against humanity, I think. I couldn't even tell you one of their names. I remember all the bands that I like wanted to see and all the bands I like tried to get into their shows, and I couldn't tell you one of the bands that I like messaged and strung along and catfished.
That's fucking amazing. Can't wait for one of them to listen to this show and that fucking guy. So when it comes down to music and Tree River, there's always this kind of thing to try to find something for everyone, right? And like if you were to meet somebody on the street, Trevor, I'll start with you, and you told them you were in a band and you had to play them one song to get them to latch on to your band. What song would you play for them?
Journey Proud, the first song on the album.
I
feel like that.
I
mean,
have
not
that
only
written
is it
down
like,
right here. I'll take a picture and show you. Yeah.
Really? I think that, I mean, first of all, it's the first track, so it's kind of like the introduction to the album, but it also, I think, captures like lyrically, it captures what we're going for, like the themes of the album, the lyrical style and the sound. Like, I think that it gives such a nice preview. Yeah, it's like a complex song, but also is catchy, and I think that's the song that I would introduce people to. Yeah, I think that's my answer.
Would you agree with that, Phil, or do you have something else
My
that?
initial inclination was to say Thought Bubbles only because it's like it feels more user friendly to me. Like it feels like the poppiest kind of like it's like a 90s sort of pop rock song. You know what I mean? Like so I would be too nervous about like turning them off with like the mathy guitars in the bridge. But I shouldn't be coming at it from such like a people pleasing place. So I'm gonna switch my answer to Journey Proud.
So then, would you consider that one of your favorite songs that you've ever released? Like, because they couldn't be completely different. Like
Journey Proud or Thought Bubbles or both?
those, those are your favorite songs that you've
It's not
released.
that they're my favorite. Like I feel like Thought Bubbles is like probably one of our best crafted songs. Like again, it feels like familiar. I think if you've heard it, like it sounds like something you've heard before, but you couldn't possibly place it. Like I have this weird fixation with like the 1996 or 1997 like buzz bin, like all these bands that like maybe had like one single that was like successful in like some markets or like they had like big college airplay and you saw their video like four times on MTV or VH1 and then you literally never heard from them ever again because the guy like got a fucking MBA and the other guy is like an arc. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
like that kind of ideal, like the platonic ideal of like 90s pop rock. So that's kind of like what I was sort of coming at with that song and like this sort of power poppy perfectionism. So just because I feel like that's, you know, that's why we selected it to be the first single from the last album. Like it feels like a song you could play for some random schmuck on the street and they'd be like, hey, this sounds like a song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to like, whoa, 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 these guitars are too mathy for me. I'm just a random person. I can't deal with this. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think that's what takes place too when it comes to music, especially when we start going to the genre labeling and what math rock is. It's just a more complex version of amazing music, and I think that is when people hear it, they're like, "This is too complicated for my ears to comprehend." And it's like, well, just take the time for a second, and you could change your entire world when it comes to time signatures and changes and people just, if it's not easy, they just walk away from it.
Sure.
Trevor, do you have a favorite song that could be different
Favorite song that could be different?
that you've released that hey, listen, it could be the same exact song as and you
Ooh,
guys can argue about it off the air. So
a favorite song. Okay, a favorite song that it's different than Phil's. That's a really good question. Honestly, Prospect Park is probably my favorite song on the album, which is the last song. I think that it's interesting because I think that it actually integrates the previous two albums into the new like updated sound of the album in a cool way, and so I feel like it's this really like comprehensive like just depiction of our personalities as songwriters and our sound. And it has my favorite moment, which is the drum fill right before the instrumental section of that song.
I think
That's
it
the
also
best
just has this
moment.
sincerity that like maybe some of the songs on the newest album are like a little bit cynical or a little bit jaded in a way that our other music is kind of not. And if you've heard the other ones and you hear this, you might be like, wow, there's a little more attitude. Whereas I think that song sort of brings back a lot of the sincerity in a very satisfying way. And it's appropriate that it's like the last song on the album. So it's kind of like, hey, look, we are not, we still have like a heart.
Yeah. And also, so, the whole album, for the most part, all the lyrics were written during the pandemic. And so Phil and I both live in Brooklyn. We both live right next to Prospect Park. And so Prospect Park, I mean, in addition to just the name being really, really beautiful, it was this like iconic, very important place for us because, in the middle of like concrete Brooklyn, there's this huge oasis of nature, and so it felt very expansive and important. So that's another reason why I love that song. But yeah, it's just also the production on this album. So our producer Kevin Dye, from the band Gates,
from Gates, yeah, another
he
band that's fucking amazing that people don't know about.
Yeah, an unbelievable band. So he, I think that he and we work really well with him because we have this similar drive of like trying to get the biggest sound possible. And Prospect Park, I think, is the biggest. It's the biggest song on the album, I think. Like
Even
just
in terms of the amount of guitars on that song is like dizzying. Like we had to chart it out because there's I think like 34 guitars or something on it.
yeah, the biggest song on a big album, like an album with big fucking songs. That's the biggest song.
Wow. Very beautiful the way you described the meaning behind it too. So
Thank you. Yeah, hell yeah.
now, when it comes to music and Rolling Stone categorizes a question as what's your favorite band. I don't like that. I don't, because favorite bands can be different. I look for bands that never let me down, like in my life. Like
Oh, that's interesting.
I have 3 bands that just never let me down, and I can always turn to them whenever I need something. Phil, do you have, a band or 2 in your life that just never lets you down, and no matter what you're going through or what mood you're in, or you don't know what to listen to, you can just always count on them?
Golly, I don't know that I have one right this second. That's Trevor. Maybe he has one. I gotta think.
I have one.
Honestly, the first thing that came to mind is not a band that I think Trevor is gonna expect me to say at all. Only because I only recently got into them, but because they've been in the news so much. Like Paramore came back from being gone for a very long time, and before that, they came back from being gone for a long time before that, and then they put. I think even more than Trevor, who was like the person that introduced me to that band, just like so continually impressed with the ability to like start off within not like a corny sort of subset of the scene, but like, they were like pretty stock pop punk band, like very dramatic lyrics, blah, blah, blah. And I am so impressed by like the way they sort of pivoted on their last album, After Laughter. I've heard the new song a million times. I love it. I think it's so cool and weird and muscular and like has what people like about that band, but like totally just goes in a completely new direction. And again, I love eras of bands and I love like album trajectories and I love whatever the fuck they're cooking up for this new album they're releasing in February. Is like, I could not be more excited just because I love that it's like, it's undeniably like rock music, but it is so inflected with just like it couldn't not be like inflected with the last 6 years of like her sort of serious interest in like pop songwriting and pop singing. I'm really excited by that band. So it's not really like, it's not my favorite band and it's not like a band that I've been into for 15 years, but they're just the top of my mind in terms of like being so impressed. And like, I was very nervous for the new song. It could have sucked. It could have been like 900 different kinds of not good, and it's just like such an unexpectedly kind of good that like I thought that was so fun to listen to.
Yeah, my only problem with Paramore right now is my wife really wanted to go see them, and the last time we saw Paramore, we paid
I'm sure it's
$19
now.
And she's like, hey, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of over that whole thing. Like I liked them back in the day. I'm like, it's cool. I'm like, she goes, okay, well, yeah, we're not going anyway. I'm like, why? She goes, it's $400 at the Beacon Theater for nosebleeds.
Like the new Blink-182 tour is the same thing.
I'm like, come on, guys. Wow. That's it. It's just it gets, my joke with the whole Blink-182 thing was like, yeah, what's my wage again? Like, because I can't afford to fucking go to the show. Like,
yeah, it's just gonna be like LA douchebag VIPs who just like fly in private from like Palm Springs, go to the show at the Staples Center, and then fly. It's like, this is what you wanted this tour to be. It's so whack. It's like not inspiring and it's very annoying.
Yeah, it's if your true fans who are the reason why you are what you are can't afford to go to the show, then what are you doing it for?
I agree.
Pretty different than the Dollar Bill tour that they did to promote the Untitled album, which they literally charged $1 to go to that show. Yeah. And that is so much money. So fucking sick. That is the coolest thing ever. I mean, oh my God. They're also probably my favorite band ever, maybe. But I wouldn't say I wouldn't put them in
super consistent. I would
say. I wouldn't put them in the never lets you down category. But I am very, very stoked on this new album.
Goes without Tom. Saying. I'll put it that way. That's
huge Team Tom. Always have believed in him.
Yeah, Boxcar Racer was awesome. Angels and Airwaves is just a great fucking new wave band.
Boxcar Racer is one of my favorite albums of all time. Top 10 for sure. Yeah, the new song's great. Tom's back in the band and super stoked on it.
So what's a band that never lets you down, Trevor?
Honestly, well, my first answer was Weatherbox for sure. I mean, I like every single song they've ever made. The only way that Weatherbox lets me down is because they haven't released a fucking song
They haven't been a band
in
since 2014.
so long. The last full-length album was 2014, and it's probably again, another one of my top 10 favorite albums of all time. Honestly, I don't even know whether I like Flies in All Directions better than American Art.
I love all their albums, and they're
honestly,
band that I really
all
like.
of their albums are just perfect, and I would kill for them to fucking release an album. I know they will soon. I believe in you, Brian. It's gonna happen. I know it.
Not if you keep wearing their shirt for a sleep shirt, man.
Hell yeah. Oh man, I've owned so many Weatherbox shirts over the years, and they just disappear, and I don't know where they are. I don't know where those shirts go. Maybe like ex-girlfriends have taken those shirts. I don't know. But shout out to all of my ex-girlfriends who stole my clothes and never gave them back.
As long as they're a walking billboard and still wearing it, let's do that.
Yeah, I'm married now, so fuck you. That's what I have to say to all of those.
You can just say fuck you to all ex-girlfriends right
fuck
now.
you.
Just a collective fuck you.
My wife doesn't take my shirts, but she does take my sweatshirts, which is okay.
Well, that's
my wife wears my underwear.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. They're just boxers. It's not like she wears the dirty ones, but it's just funny to say.
You're a boxers guy. That's interesting.
I've always been a boxers guy.
Wow, that was my next question.
Like
boxers or briefs?
Yeah. I'm not interested
in briefs, bro. Boxer briefs. It's
boxer briefs.
It's the middle path.
But it rounds up to briefs, I think.
It rounds up to briefs?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, because tight. I don't like the tight. I like the boxers.
No, but it's not. It's not tight. It's stretchy. It just fits your legs, so it doesn't get
Everything
bunched.
feels like too constricted.
No.
I feel like I constantly
boxers get bunched.
Yeah, boxers and jeans get bunched. It's like wearing a bathing suit underneath your jeans.
Phil,
they're not comfortable.
You just know what you're doing. Look, I've been doing this for 20 years. I know how to not bunch my boxers.
No, Phil, listen. Boxers get bumped.
I'm just gonna go commando.
Just don't even say the phrase.
Throwing out all my underwear.
But you're almost going commando in boxers because it's just wearing a bathing suit underneath your
another pair of shorts underneath your pants.
Exactly. So it's not like that's why I've never considered them underwear because it's not. You're just wearing shorts underneath your. It's not holding anything, and it's bad for you. Listen, I don't want to. I don't want to be Dr. Oz right now and make up facts and stuff, but it's bad for you. You need to contain some of that stuff. Like
I thought they would say that the other one is bad. I thought they would say that briefs are bad because it's too constricting.
No.
I think boxer briefs. My boxer briefs have a little pocket. Do you know about the ball pocket?
Oh yeah. There's a new ball pocket. Who makes?
I don't know, but I'm all about the ball pocket. I don't know who makes them.
Wow, we really went off the tracks real quick on this. So that's our underwear conversation for the show. That's awesome. First time for everything. Love it.
Hell yeah.
So going from stuff that we just went through, not the boxer briefs part, but the bands that never let us down. Phil, is there a band that you listen to that people would be really surprised to hear that you get tons of enjoyment out of?
Yes. So my wife and I, we found ourselves in Colorado a lot over the last couple of years. We like Colorado. And our favorite thing to do when we get to Colorado is like rent a car and immediately put on the country radio station. And my favorite like genre of music is like pop country, but like not even like, like I'm talking like the poppiest of the pop country, just because like as a songwriter and as a sort of admirer of like a well-crafted pop song, like also a lot of these fucking songs are just like emo songs with a twang. You know what I mean? Like they're basically just huge like rhythm guitars, like gigantic stadium sized drums and the guy singing like that. Like that's basically all it is. So there's one band that we love a lot called Dan and Shay. Honestly, they've released a couple albums recently that are big stinkers, but they have this album that I think is self-titled. No, maybe it's the one before self-titled. Anyway, it's just like one banger after another. There's this song called All Nighter that I sing all the time. This is an all nighter. Ding, 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 ding. Every rain ladder. It's so good. And then the song after that is good. And then the song after that is good. It's just like a really fucking great time. It's a blast. My baby loves listening to it. And then the next album, they have this song called Tequila that you've probably heard. It was a big hit on like country radio. But when I taste tequila, maybe I still see you coming to
This is a great song.
a t-shirt. It's a great song. I love that band unironically, and I feel like our producer Kevin actually also really likes Dan and Shay, and it's kind of one of our little things that we bond over is our love for just like ridiculously stupid, corned out, sugary country pop music. It's great.
That's awesome. How about you, Trevor?
Well, I listen to a lot of like techno and tech house, and I would honestly say Phil's not into it, but I'm like hugely into that kind of like club, sort of dark, very, very bass heavy. Like it's like it feels kind of describing like, you know, the perfect pop song as it's constructed like for the radio, and this is like the perfect techno club song kind of vibe. And
music to be depressed on drugs in a club too.
Hell yeah, exactly. I want to listen to music that like makes you want to do more drugs in a club somewhere.
Not even like a fun club, like one of those sad clubs.
No, it's a fun club. Honestly, like I like tech house music a lot. So there's this producer that I love, this new producer. His name is Abo, Ayybo. Shout out to Abo. That's all I'll say. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So tech house and country. Awesome. That's
tech house and country.
Way for music for sure.
Well, hey, listen, there's a nice little thing that you can do for your side project, guys. You can combine those two genres and see what you come up with.
Oh God,
that would be absolutely insane. We should try that though. I love that idea. Thank you.
Yeah, just try one song. Just try and figure it out. You both have the backgrounds of
just
what
come
you
up
like.
With the remix, like the dubstep remix of Old Town Road, is I think what we're talking about. I think that song exists, and I don't want no part of it.
Well, we've been here for a little bit of a while now. I know people got to do things, running late into the night. So, you know, before we move on to our last segment, I'm going to ask one last major question from you both. So, Phil, you go first, and then when Phil's done, Trevor, you can answer it. But the world's going to end in 5 minutes. Meteor's going to crash into the earth, and you have to listen to one song before it's gone. What song do you listen to,
brother?
Oh my God.
I would probably put on my own music. I'm really sorry. Terrible like that. I'm not even lying. Like it's whatever. Like I would probably put on Get Up. You know what I mean? Like it's whatever shit we just finished most recently.
You're not the first person to
I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna blow smoke up your ass.
No,
that's what I would do.
All right.
Yeah, I like that
idea. We're gonna die, and this is what I accomplished while I was on this earth, and I think that's pretty cool.
See, I like the explanation behind it instead of just give me.
Yeah, I actually want to have the same answer, not to copy Phil, but I like the idea of like listening to a song that like sums up who you are, what you're proud of, and just being connected to your own emotional experience. That's how I want to go out.
Well done, fellas. So after that question, before we move on to the last segment, which is our weekly threes, where you guys appeared twice already, I'd love to give you an opportunity, whoever wants to tell it, everybody can find what it is that you guys are doing, all your handles, as you will, to follow you guys, and just tell everybody how to find everything you're doing right now.
Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, so I think our shit is mostly Tree River Music on social media. I don't think I'm
Twitter and Instagram.
And we got this new song called Get Up that we put out in the past, but that's the future for now on the 27th. That's a very beautiful personal song that we're very excited about. I think it's a slightly different color than anything we've done before. We're very excited about it. It's a little bit of like a big open road kind of song with still the sort of same emotional heft that you've come to expect from us, but I think a lot more sort of like vulnerability, and it's kind of an unusual story. But you can also just listen to it, and it's got a big fucking fat chorus that sounds like a Justin Bieber song, which is fun too.
And everybody, you will hear it
Oh,
after the
nice.
show. So
Yes. Find us on Bandcamp and Spotify also.
and buy their stuff. That's how you keep bands
Buy our
alive.
stuff. That's right. That's right. Big Scary Monsters is the label. And they're amazing. So buy records from them, please.
BSM rocks, and that's not, and there's no D in there, folks. BSM rocks.
I've never made that connection before. That's right. There's no D.
There's no D.
No D.
That should be their logo. Or their slogan. There's no D.
There's no D.
There's
BSM
no D.
rocks.
BSM rocks. I'm TMing that right now. So so here we are. We're in our weekly 3 segment. It's 3 things you're listening to right now that you'd like people to check out. So
yeah.
Phil, if you'd like to go, 3 things you're listening to.
I got some answers for you. Okay, so I was just in LA last week, and as soon as I rented a car, I got my rental car, I turned on the new 1975 album that I hadn't listened to until that moment. And there's this song that I have subsequently listened to 575,000 times called Oh Caroline. It is such a good song. Honestly, the whole album's great. Like the first half of the album is just banger after banger after banger. But Oh Caroline is just like so satisfying. I'm super into it. So that's my number 1 song, like maybe of the year. It's so fucking good. I want to give a shout out to this band from New Zealand called the Beths. They have an album that came out a couple of weeks ago called Expert in a Dying Field that
They're
I'm
fucking
super
awesome.
obsessed with. It's like really well constructed, kind of like, it's like quirky only because they're from New Zealand. Like I think maybe that's just what the entire fucking country is like. The whole album is great, but my favorite song is the first song, Expert in a Dying Field, and I also really like the song Silence is Golden. And my last thing, I'm just going through my Spotify playlists here. I hope that's okay. My last thing that I want to talk about is, okay, so I read a lot of books for my job, so I'm constantly on the hunt for good instrumental music because I try as I might, I just can't really read fiction to music with lyrics. So I'm like literally just all day long looking for really good instrumental music. So I want to call out 2 really good instrumental albums from the last recent past. One is by this band with a ridiculous name that sounds absolutely like nothing like what the music sounds like, called Bitchin' Bajas. Do you know this band?
I don't.
It's a crazy name. It's just like cool, kind of like Steve Reich influenced, kind of percussive, beautiful instrumental music, but it's really pretty. And the other band, I don't even know how the hell to say their name. It's like Cochimea. Actually, I was in North Carolina for Trevor's wedding a couple of weeks ago, and my wife and I listened to this album the entire time we were there. It's like really cool, kind of like, it's not like Afrobeat, but it has those same kind of like cool auxiliary percussion, really cool horns, just like it's a fucking vibe. So those are that's the top 4. Sorry.
Nice. I'll give you one for if you're looking for instrumental stuff.
Yeah, Timmy, please.
Guy from Iceland. Just great backstory too. He was a black metal drummer, and now he's just a piano player, violinist. Olafur Arnalds.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
love that guy.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing.
He's a black metal guy.
Yeah, he was a black metal drummer.
It's fun. Yeah, I like that guy.
All right, Trevor, your 3s.
Oh, well, the most recent album I've been really into is the Always record called Blue Rev, which
I didn't
is
say
just
because I
like,
knew you were going to say it. I let you say
oh my God, that's another just incredibly melodically interesting, fucking epic, perfectly written indie rock album. Highly recommend it. Really into this, going back to the tech house kind of thing, this producer named Kyle Watson, who, if you listen to that genre, you probably already know about him, but he made an album a few years ago called Into the Morning, which is incredible. And then I'm trying to think what else. I've been really into like 70s African psychedelic.
You should listen to that album I was talking about.
Kind of stuff.
You'll love it. Oh my God, it's right up your alley.
And like that kind of vibe. And there's this band, I think it's pronounced Cymande, Cymande, from 1972, and it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like psychedelic but groovy and like
I'm gonna look it up right now.
it's so good. If you listen to that album and then go to like song radio, it's like Afro psychedelia is Afro
Wait, how do you
psychedelica.
spell the name of the band?
CYM like Mary, AN like Nancy, DE. Simonde.
Cool.
It's a really good album.
Awesome. All right. Got some good music there for me to check out. Now, my 3 for this week. First one is a band called Drastic Park out of Australia. They're an Australian punk band.
Great name.
They have a song called Lost that I've just been lost in. Pun intended. Dad joke. Really good song. The next band is Ways Away. New album, Torch Songs, is just almost anything Surge touches, I have to listen to. So I'm into that. And last but not least, Good Sleepy put out an EP. I Better Start Dreaming, Volume 1, Massachusetts.
These are good tips. I don't know these bands.
Oh,
Massachusetts indie band.
I only know Good Sleepy because they're often on our song radio.
Oh, I do know that band.
Yeah, and they're great. They're like a DIY emo band. They're awesome.
That's fun.
Yeah, like I'm looking at their Spotify and the fans also like one of them is Short Fictions, and we just went on a little tour with Short Fictions.
Yeah.
And
I had Sam on the show.
Yeah, and they're fucking awesome too. So kind of distant cousins in a way.
Well, Trevor, Phil, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for spending some time with us, telling your stories. I really enjoyed our time together. And also a personal thank you for the music we've created, which feels like it's for me because I've taken ownership of it.
We made it for you.
I know you did, because I love it to death. And I'm just trying to spread it as much as I can because it's extremely important to have this community to get out there for other people to hear what talented people are doing. And that's really important to us here. And Get Up, I can't wait for it to fucking hit the airwaves and people just dive into it and love it as much as I do. So good on you both for having that and sharing it with me prior to releasing it. I thank you so much. And it's a banger. And everyone that's here, you're going to be hearing it at the end of the show. So thank you both so much.
Hear it along with those guys. I love that song. It's a good ass song.
Well, you can listen to yourself
this
talk.
Is the premiere. This is the premiere. I don't think no one's heard this song before. Except for
when this comes out, but still.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, well then there you go.
There it is.
And then yeah, that's right. This isn't live. But Shane, thank you so much. This was such a pleasure. Really, thank you.
Well, pleasure was absolutely all mine. I truly mean it. And talking about blowing smoke a couple people's asses, I don't do that. I think you guys are extremely talented. I'm excited for the future, for what is going to come to what you guys are doing, because it's absolutely amazing. And I implore everyone to go out and support the band and listen to your music and buy your merch because it's important. And what you guys are doing is extremely important. So don't ever stop.
Wee, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, everybody, you know what time it is now. It's time to go out, listen to Tree River, and have a great fucking time.
Fire in your eyes. You and
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.